A commission on prosecutor misconduct meant to keep a closer eye on the state's district attorneys. That's what a bill in Albany would create if it makes it past the legislature and the governor's office. During the recent session in Albany, it cleared both committees in the Assembly and the Senate, but this month, lawmakers concluded their business without bringing the bill up for a vote.
In fact, this is the third time the bill has failed to pass. After all, district attorneys across the state are unanimous in their opposition to the proposed law. But could the fourth time be the charm? Today, making his BK Live debut, one of the bill's sponsors, Assemblyman Nick Perry, will tell us why he thinks it's so important, as well as bring us up to speed on what's going on in his 58th Assembly District, comprising East Flatbush and parts of Brownsville and Canarsie, which, by the way, he's represented since 1992. Mr. Perry, thank you very much for being on BK Live.
Thank you for having me, Greg.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into the conversation. You co-sponsored a bill establishing a misconduct commission to monitor state's district attorneys.
Right.
Yes.
Just want to clarify that because we made a real specific effort not to let the bill appear to be a gotcha for the district attorneys. We didn't want to make it appear that we are going after district attorneys. So the name of the commission is simply the Commission on Prosecutorial Conduct.
Okay.
Very specific, not to name it misconduct.
So what does the bill include?
Well, the bill sets up a mechanism for making district attorneys, prosecutors accountable. Surprisingly enough, that is the office of the prosecutor at state and federal levels, district attorneys or the local prosecutor's office is the only office with such tremendous power.
Absolutely.
That does not have a check and balance mechanism or process. The power of the district attorney is to a great extent absolute until we set up a mechanism to make a district attorney accountable.
Fair enough. Well, many district attorneys would say that there are already courts in place for that, and that a separate monitor is not needed. Critics say that it will allow criminal defendants to bring bogus charges against prosecutors in a bid to sort of bog down the system. So what do you say to that?
Well, that's raising an alarm, really. It's a false alarm. Currently, district attorneys have a discipline system that treats them as regular attorneys. We do have a grievance procedure if you have a problem with a regular attorney, where you can file your complaint, and this system, which is run by the bar associations in each county, or I believe in each judicial circuit or district. Mm-hmm. And if you have a problem with a district attorney, if you think there's some misconduct, you can make a report, just like you would if your attorney didn't do his job when you hired him.
No, is there a difference if that's a civil case rather than a criminal case?
This grievance committee hears all complaints against attorneys. There is no real system where you can complain about an unruly or a district attorney who is committing unlawful acts and is indulging in serious misconduct, other than to the Bar Association Grievance Committee. Now, a district attorney is not a regular lawyer.
Right.
He's supposed to be the people's lawyer, endued with tremendous power. The district attorney can
bring tremendous discretion.
Exactly, and that's a part of the power of the office, the discretion. So, because who decides whether you get indicted or not?
The DA.
You think the grand jury? Not really, because it is true that a DA can indict a ham sandwich.
So why do you think the DA's office needs to be monitored? In other words, what are specific examples of their misconduct that maybe appropriates this
Yeah,
bill?
well, let me be clear again. This is not a monitoring of the DA's office. It's a mechanism that we'll put in place to allow citizens to be able to bring complaints. This commission would determine the validity of the complaints, investigate the complaints, and proceed to take appropriate action. One spelled out in the bill would be a report to the governor's office with a recommendation, because under our Constitution, only the governor can remove an elected district attorney from office. So the commission would investigate the complaint, and if they find wrongdoing, they'd make a recommendation for censure or for removal from office, or as provided under the law, and the governor would take the final action on the recommendation.
You know, you brought the governor up. I do have to ask this question because this is another critique that I sort of came across in my research. Critics also charge that this would discourage prosecutors from pursuing cases of public corruption. And we know that during this sort of election cycle, a lot of focus has been put on ethics in Albany, and there's been a lot of high-profile prosecutions and polls that have gone to jail.
Throughout the
What are your
process
thoughts
of
on that? You seem surprised by that critique.
throughout the whole process of trying to get this bill to the floor and all the lobbying that went on by the district attorneys, I never heard that being brought up.
Well, they also will have
but
answer, the commission
that's
will also
ludicrous
answer
to me.
to the governor. They also will have to answer to someone, correct?
They
So if they're
currently do.
appointed and they have to answer to them.
Under the law, currently, the governor has the authority to remove a district attorney for cause. And the governor has tremendous discretion there, and they're all aware of that. So we're not creating any new realm of power for the governor. He currently has that. And that's in the Constitution. That's not something that they can question. But the only reason that the prosecutor has to worry about what the governor is going to do is if the prosecutor indulges in misconduct, unlawful activity, abuse of his powers, to the extent that a recommendation can be substantiated and validated through an investigation, a proper investigation, and a recommendation made to the governor. If you're doing your job as a district attorney, that's just a ludicrous claim.
District attorneys seem to be unanimously against this bill. Great.
Over to me. On June 16th, the bill that will seal criminal records of people who have been arrested on simple marijuana possession is coming up too. How important is this bill in passing, this June 16th bill?
Well, that bill is a priority, has been since its introduction a priority. I'm chairman of the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislative Caucus, and that bill is among our top priorities. We have prioritized legislation that will seek to minimize the ability of police, law enforcement to
make the lives of these
victims of African American, mostly minority citizens, because of the I think over prosecution of marijuana use all around the world, all around the country. We're beginning to realize that marijuana is not as a serious an offense that we should spend so much of our resources,
millions and billions of dollars over numerous decades
prosecuting.
And I mean, you've represented the 58th district since 1992. So I know a lot of things have changed in that time. The war on drugs, so to speak, has changed in that time. What else have you seen in terms of differences and evolution in the 58th district between 1992 and 2016?
In regards to marijuana?
No, in regards to all the work that you do.
Well, we have seen socially Brooklyn itself has experienced a tremendous, you'd call it renaissance, in some areas, and with the coming of the Barclays Center, it's really competing big time with Manhattan, just across the bridge. Brooklyn used to be cheaper, so we were more attractive at first. But now, people who escape to Brooklyn, and I think we have larger apartments in Brooklyn, and they were cheaper, so everybody came in. Now, people in Brooklyn are having to try to get away from the high cost of living. I live in what used to be considered suburb, or in New York City, more rural area, but that growth is edging down south into, as far as where Brooklyn College is located at the junction. Properties have risen, skyrocketed,
astronomical levels.
And I mean, homes that 20 years ago were selling for a few $100,000 are now
3.5.
Right.
Near a million.
I mean, I read articles every 6 months that Brooklyn is the most
so a big
expensive
problem
place to
for
live
the
in the
people
country.
I represent is housing, and the cost of housing.
We have just a few more
rising.
minutes left, but what are, besides affordable housing, what are some of the chief concerns of your constituents right now?
Well, right now we have a big concern. They're just about to implement new bus lanes in my district, and they've set up numerous cameras along Utica Avenue, which is a very
corridor,
heavily trafficked commercial street. And I have been fighting with the city to pay attention to the concerns of the local residents whose lives will be significantly disturbed and changed by the implementation of these bus rules, these restricted bus lanes. And I do understand and appreciate the need to facilitate quick travel for commuters, but I don't think it should be done at the expense of changing your life to the extent that you can't shop in your neighborhood without worrying about getting a ticket, especially on weekends. The city has been working with me on it, but I'm not really satisfied. And my colleagues, we have been fighting together for the interest, because bus routes, I think, across the city where we have to set them up and implement them should be done to the least to the least extent it disturbs the life of the people who live in a specific community with a certain character that cause them to move in, and not just simply concerned about reducing the time for the transit.
And the businesses along the corridor and how they're affected during that whole transition as well.
It is very important that the city bear that in mind and pay some really serious considerations to that.
Thank you very much for being here on BK Live. Is there a way that people can get in touch with you regarding the issues that they're most concerned with?
My office is located at 903 Utica Avenue. That's between Church and Snyder. And my number is listed, 718-385-3336.
I'm texting you right now.
Well, you won't be able to text me through that number.
Because he's had the same number since '92.
Unfortunately, the state has not modernize our communication to the extent where we can get text on official
well, the police can't get the text messages either, so we'll come
they have
back
to text
and
me
we'll
on my
that.
private line.
Or we'll fax you. No, we're putting up your website
me.
right here. We want to thank you very much, Mr. Perry, for
you.
being on BK Live and for all the tremendous work you've done since 1992. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And
Please come back again, would you?
That's right. And I really like to talk some more about the Commission on Prosecutorial Conduct, because the district attorneys have gone
As soon as the next
viral
session starts, then we're going to bring you right back in.
Definitely, because